Next up, we've got our science segment with Barbara Brabetz, and she's going to be talking to Dr. Don O'Neill about the Wildlife Preserve, otherwise known as Hook. At least I think that's the way you pronounce it. Let's watch to make sure I've got it right.
It's such a shame this segment is only 10 minutes long, this science segment, because we're already having a blast and we haven't even started. Thanks, guys, for throwing us to the science segment. I have my guest today. Would you care to introduce yourself, my dear?
I'm Dr. Don O'Neill, and I'm the Director of Conservation Education out at the Hike Preserve, which is located in Rensselaerville, New York, which is about 30 miles southwest of Albany. If you take 85 and just keep going straight, you'll run right into us.
You can't miss it.
Exactly.
It is the cutest little small town in the hills.
Yes.
Very swanky, very cool. Tell us a little bit about your scientific background. This is the science segment, and we only let scientists through the door.
Well, let's see, I got my Ph.D. at Indiana University June 2010. I studied evolutionary biology and ecology, focusing mostly on dark-eyed juncos and their effects of climate change on their migration and latitudinal variation in their immune function.
So the short piece is why there are still birds in my yard when there shouldn't be birds in my yard.
Yes.
Okay. Well, in your role as the conservation director at the Hike Preserve, you are involved with scientists on a daily basis, and also the general public. So could you give us kind of a flavor of how the public interacts with this place called the Hike Preserve?
Sure. Well, the preserve is 2,000 acres, and we have 12 miles of trails. We have 6 miles that were just added this past year, and we do a lot of public outreach programs. So we have hikes, Hike the Hikes, volunteer trail days. In addition, there are Thursday night lecture series during the summer where we bring in scientists where you can get a chance to learn a bit about research and get a sort of hands-on experience with the real scientists. In addition, we have full moon hikes in the winter. Up and coming, we have a winter festival where we'll bring in a wildlife tracker, and he'll show you sort of how to track wildlife in the winter.
So tell us more about this wildlife festival. This sounds really cool.
Well, it's going to be, like I said, February 18th, starting at 9 in the morning, and we'll do an adult tracking period, and then in the afternoon, we'll have the kids come in, and the tracker again will be leading the kids out, teaching them how to track, in addition to sharing some natural history type stories. And I'll also be there earlier in the morning, and I will have some mist nets open, and we can see what kind of cool winter birds we're going to catch.
So you're going to try to catch birds,
yes.
And then the kids will be able to see
exactly.
what birds are caught.
Right.
If this bird has been caught before, they may have
yes.
a band on their leg, and that you can tell all kinds of things
yes,
from the band on their leg.
Exactly. And then for any older kids or older sort of students, is how I like to call everybody who comes out to the preserve, we'll also give them the chance to get some experience mist netting if they want holding a bird, touching a bird, because I'm always of the big opinion that you don't really know anything about wildlife until you touch it in your hand, and so it becomes a personal experience for yourself.
Yeah, there's not an app for that.
Yes.
No. Well, could you tell us a little bit about the other science stuff that goes on kind of behind the scenes at the
Sure.
preserve, which really don't need to be behind the scenes. In fact, I think you're looking for some community support for
yes.
some of the things that you do.
So we bring out scientists and researchers every year, come out to visit the preserve. We have a hike grant. It's for early and sort of graduate researchers and everything to help them cover some costs for research. We have a senior research fellow.
Well, wait, let's go back to the research. What type of researchers do you usually?
Oh, there's all sorts of research. We have students who study slave-making ants, which are ants that enslave other ants. There's sort of wildlife ecology, there's plant ecology, studying the forest succession and field succession, what the seed bank looks like, so what's going to be coming up in the forest. The forest out at the preserve is really old in some areas, and it's starting to fall down, and so it's becoming a really interesting sort of research point to see what is coming in that new forest. So how is the forest going to change as we progress?
And there's decades of research
yes.
that has been collected by those before you.
Yes. In fact, one of the great, well, you can call him the father of ecology, Eugene Odum, got his start out at the Hike Preserve, studying sort of basic ecology type questions, and then that sort of opened up the field for everyone else.
Yes, he's a great guy. And speaking of Odum.
Speaking of Odum, we also have in his legacy an Odum internship for undergraduates who are interested in ecology. and they come out and they get a chance to work with researchers in all sorts of fields. So you can do from anywhere from the slave making ants to your plant ecology to avian biology.
So you're looking for someone who's an undergraduate, probably in a
Yes.
biology field?
Correct.
And the applications are due soon, aren't they?
Yes. So our applications for our hike grants and the ODM internships are due March 9th. And then sort of who oversees the ODM internships and interacts most closely with the researchers is the Senior Research Fellow, which the application for that position is also coming up the 2nd of March, I believe. And that is for a more established scientist. And in the past, that's been held by Dr. Sue Beatty, who is currently out at Portland, I think it's university or college. I'm not certain.
She's out in Oregon.
Yeah, she's out in Oregon. Yeah, she's out there, out far west. But she's done work at the preserve for, I think it's over 20 years or something like that, looking at forest communities and everything.
So if a professor or a researcher who works for a private entity or a government is really looking for this, what are you looking for in the Senior Research Fellow?
We're looking for somebody a little bit more established because we want them to be able to sort of hit the ground running, if you will, getting started with their research. Somebody who's mentored students before, since they will be directing the ODM internship, and as well as somebody who's sort of looking to maybe establish a long-term research project out at the preserve.
So Dawn, getting to Rensselaerville is not as far as people think.
No, it's not.
But if they wanted directions or a list of upcoming events or access to the applications for any of the internships or the Senior Research Fellowship, where do they go?
They can go check out our website, which is www.hikepreserve, which is all one word, .com.
Do you want to spell hike for those of us who
Yes,
are challenged?
it's H-U-Y-C-K. And you can always remember it in terms of hike the hike, because that's how you, in terms of pronouncing it.
Great. Dawn O'Neill, thank you so much for joining us. And anytime you need to get a junco out of the net, I'm your woman.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. You've been watching the Science segment here on Impact. I'm Barbara Brabetz. Thanks a lot for watching.
If you like what you've been watching or you have comments, suggestions, ideas, please do contact us at Impact. That's impact@proctors.org, or on Facebook, we're at Impact Show. We're looking forward to your contribution because that's the only way we can make an impact on our community is through your help.